Hey, welcome to another Q&A for the 2024 San Francisco Independent Short Film Festival. This is for the program Life is Funny, and look at how lucky we are to have all these filmmakers with us. Hey, filmmakers, thanks for
Hi.
joining me. And you know what? Let me find out where you guys are from real quick. Danny, you're first on my screen. What's your film and your role, and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my film is Elevator to Stardom, and I was the director of that. And I live in San Francisco, and I've been here since the mid to late 80s, making films all that time.
Yep, right on. I think I've known you that long too. Right on. Good to have you.
Yeah.
Luke, hi.
Hey, I'm the director of photography for the film Raise the Bar,
Raise the bar. You look
and
very
I'm in
familiar to me too. Are you San
Oakland.
Francisco? Oakland.
Yeah, I'm in Oakland, and I was in it last year with a different film, and that's where I met the director at.
Ah, right on. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Ronnie, how about yourself? What's your film and what's your role?
My film is Expats. I'm the director and executive producer along with Ziad.
Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Sherman Oaks.
Right on. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Eric, you're next, please.
Hi, I'm Eric Bader. I'm representing Deep Tish. I was the director of photography, and I'm calling in from North Carolina.
Right on. North Carolina. All right. Good to have you. Kathy, hi.
Hi, everyone. Great to meet you. I am the writer and director of Spermatozoan, and I live in Vancouver, Canada, but I used to live in the Bay Area, and I miss it fondly. That made no sense, but I miss it.
Well, we miss you too. Hope you make it to the festival. Alec, how about you? Where are you calling in from? What's your film?
Hi, I'm Alec Bucas. I'm calling in from Los Angeles, and my film is Shut Up Jack, which I wrote, directed, and acted in.
What character are you? You're not Jack, are you?
I am indeed.
Oh, you got a haircut.
I did, yeah.
I remember that. I remember
It's
the hair being
long.
a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. And Sal, last but not least, where are you calling from? What's your film?
Hi, everybody. My film is Jalopy. I'm calling from East Bay. I am from the Bay Area with, like Kathy, with some roots from Canada. Although I was actually in LA for the last few years, but currently I'm in the East Bay.
Right on.
And I've been here. You could tell I've been here because of what I'm wearing.
Right on. Good to have you. All right. So first question: why'd you make this film? Why this film? Luke, I'll start with you. Maybe also what's the inspiration, but why the heck you make this short film?
Sure. Well, I got involved with the film. The director, Sam Hyatt, reached out to me and shared the script with me, and there's a lot of other people he showed it to that didn't quite see the potential, and I thought it was a really funny time. So yeah, I signed up to be the director of photography for it, and I believe the idea came, it was between Sam and his fiance, but I don't quite remember all the details of it.
Is that his fiance's voice, perchance, as the machine?
It's not. No. It's another Bay Area actress.
Got it. And Danny, how about you? How did this film come about?
Yeah, so I run the film program at the University of San Francisco. And every now and again, we teach some analog classes, and all of our Super 8 cameras were kind of breaking recently. And I reached out to Kodak in the spring of 2023, and I said, hey, I know you've been working on this new Super 8 camera. Is there any chance I could borrow one of the prototypes for my class? And somewhat surprisingly, they said, yeah, sure. But before you hand it over to your students, we need you to shoot something with it so that you're comfortable with it. And so I ended up making this film, we start to finish in about 3 weeks to a month, because they gave it to me late in the semester, and I had to figure out how to use it before students could start using it. And I've been teaching film for a long time, so I kind of came up with this idea about, a film school group shoot gone horribly wrong, all based on true stories, obviously. And so, I made it with my students, and so we just kind of knocked out everything from script to, its first screening in about a
Right
month.
on. Right. Yeah, I was going to ask if that was all your students and the resources you had available to you.
Yep.
That's cool. Right on.
Yeah.
Funny stuff. Kathy, how about you? Where did this idea come from? Why this short?
Yeah, so just a little background. Spermatozoan. It's about a couple who goes to an IVF clinic. The tagline is good news, she's pregnant. Bad news, their doctor used the wrong sperm. And I have had some experiences with egg freezing, and it's modern fertility is really interesting because it's quite unregulated. You go in, the doctors are like, here, inject yourself with all these drugs, and we'll see you in a few weeks to get your eggs out. And this was inspired by something that almost happened to one of my friends, a Japanese couple, and they were going through IVF. They got a call from their doctor. Their doctor was like, I just want to let you know there might have been a little mix-up. We're not sure yet. We're investigating, but I wanted to let you know. And my friend and her husband were like, "What are we gonna do if it's not the husband's baby, but it's my baby?" And I think it's really interesting because as the woman, you're like, oh, I want to keep this baby. This baby's already in me. And the husband's like, no, that is not my DNA. And so that's where the idea came from. It's like, what would you do as the woman and as the man in that relationship? Yeah.
They say truth is stranger than fiction, and write what you know, right?
Yes, but good news, it was not a mix-up. So they actually did have two beautiful twins.
What about that the myth or whatever tradition at the end of the movie? Is that a true thing?
No. So this was done in conjunction with a local film competition here. And one of the prompts we had to include as part of this competition, we got some surprise prompts. And one of the prompts we had to include was the idea of an urban legend.
Okay.
So it was set in an IVF clinic, but then the night before we had to figure out how to work in the idea of an urban legend. And
Got it. Yeah.
my lead actor,
it worked well. It worked really well.
Yeah.
Hey, Sal, how about you? What was the inspiration for your film? How did it all start?
Thanks for asking. My film Jalopy, as you have seen, it's a road trip romantic drama, you could say. Inspiration is I've always been drawn to themes about love, be it romantic love or familial love, and so this is kind of one of the stories that came out about in 2023 when I was in film school developing my thesis project, and as you know, this was actually just one of the projects I kind of pitched to my committee, and there, as you know, under the umbrella of a film school, there are a lot of constraints and not constraints, just kind of guardrails, and you also have certain finite budget, and so out of these conditions, this particular story came out to be, hey, it's ambitious enough to be feasible under this environment that we're doing. I am in development of my other love stories, and I have another one about brothers. But this one really came out of that environment, and
good.
Other inspirations.
Let's move on to another person. That's good. Eric, how about you? What was your inspiration, or why this movie?
Well, yeah, as far as our director Dave, so he basically set out to make Deep Tish is this movie about like kind of the horrors of like politeness that we get wrapped into, and like
That's
he
right.
had
You're
some
the
experience.
DP, right?
What's that?
You're the DP.
I'm the DP, yeah.
Got it.
And yes, he had a similar experience to our main character where he was getting a massage, and like the therapist was like, "Oh, do you want that a little bit harder?" And he was like, "Yeah, a little bit harder would be great." And then they started to, and then they started massage again, and it was the exact same. And they were like, "How does that feel?" And he was like, "Oh, good." And it's just those small little moments where
That's what I loved about that film, the small moments. It wasn't like, maybe outright laugh out loud kind of funny, but there was those uncomfortable little moments, as there are in all these little films, that there's the humor between the lines, in the subtext or just in the small moments that is
oh
fun,
yeah,
really funny.
And you can absolutely like just like feel yourself in his place, even with the like the absurdism of like what happens to him in the massage parlor and like the outright strangeness of the movie. You can still feel like in those moments, like when she's telling you to be quiet while you're trying to tell her that there's like something really strange happening. And but you can see yourself being like, oh, I mean, yeah, I guess it's fine. and and so like when I read the script, I like yeah, I saw myself and a lot of just society in general in that character, and like I was like just on board from the get-go. But then when Dave and I first chatted about it, we were totally in line visually about how we wanted to portray that, and the
It looks beautiful. It looks
yeah,
beautiful.
well,
Beautiful
thank you.
film.
Yeah, it was a blast to shoot, and yeah, it was a really great film. Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, I was on board from the get-go.
Cool. And Ronnie, how about you? An animation or animated film in this program?
Yeah, I was approached by the executive producer, Ziad, who is quite international. He grew up he's Lebanese. He grew up in England. He lived in Nigeria, and he currently lives in New York. And he approached me to direct this pilot episode for the series Expats, about a family, a white American family that migrates to Nigeria for professional business purposes. We liken it to Eddie Murphy's Coming to America. Kind of meets All in the Family in terms of their naivete, understanding of Nigerian culture and the world of Africa, which is quite common here in America, people not understanding the full scope and sophistication that now exist in Africa. And one of the challenges of creating this or directing it is the crew was in Nigeria, the animation crew. And so I'm here in Sherman Oaks, and we were communicating via Zoom online, and the end result was quite successful. We also had a team here in California that provided the 2D overlay so that there's a mixture of 2D and CGI computer animation.
Yeah, we almost put you in our animation program, but we just wanted to, yours was funny and we wanted to add some texture to this program. Well, we really loved it. Well done. And Alex, how about you? Why'd you make this movie?
Well, thankfully, there is no true incident of me telling a failed baby dick joke, thank God. But I've certainly been in that position. And I've experienced my own kind of spiral with it. And after one or two of those happens, you kind of start, wherever you go, you kind of start seeing how it happens to other people and how it affects them and how it alienates them and so on. So I thought it'd be fun to play 3 different roles and just kind of see if I can contextualize the experience in a new way, but also that maybe it would be a little less mystifying and kind of bring us together as opposed to...
And you said a challenging, and Ronnie brought up challenging too. What was, let me ask all you guys, what was the challenge of making this movie? Any particular challenges? And Alex, we're still on you. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I mean the whole filming the 3 of me doing the same scene, it was very visually challenging. I was acting against a hanging tennis ball for most of the shoot, and like figuring out eye lines and things like that. That was pretty difficult at first, but once we got it, I think everything kind of fell into place. And obviously that kind of dictates the shot list because you have to do it so many different times from different angles.
Sal, how about you? What were some challenges? What was your major challenge for this film? Are you there, Sal? Can't hear you, Sal. Uh-oh. Sorry, guys. Kathy, what was the challenge for you guys?
Yeah, we only had 1 day to shoot. We needed 4 different locations. Doctor's office.
You shot that 1 day.
We shot that in 1 day. 16 hours, but 1 day. We had a doctor's office, receptionist, a couple's bedroom, and a nursery, and we had a baby. And the baby dropped out. The first baby dropped out 2 days before, so we had to get a backup baby, which the baby was supposed to be a girl, and the baby we got was a boy. So then we had to dress up the baby as a girl, but that was fine. Baby is super cute. But yeah, I think the biggest challenge was getting 4 different looks. We shot it in one house, and we dressed everything to look like very different.
Did you approach, a one location kind of approach to make it more doable, feasible?
Yeah, there was no way we could do a company move, so we
Right.
had to figure out how to make it work in one location. Yeah.
Right on. Eric, how about you? What were some challenges or major challenges, DP? I mean, yours is probably, it seems it's a little bit more elaborate than some of the other ones here.
Yeah,
Shit,
like
LA.
logistically, like one of the things that we were married to from our first conversations was we wanted to shoot on anamorphic zoom, and the zoom that we chose is a Cook zoom that's pretty long. I mean, the whole camera build was probably like 36 inches or longer. Like it was pretty beefy. And then when you consider, so visually that's what we wanted, but then logistically we need to shoot close-ups looking up at someone's face while they're lying on a massage table and looking into a hole in the floor that's a POV from that massage table. And we had false floors to have a person inside of that hole. And like when you combine all those things, there was a lot of like just logistical things to figure out. I mean, our main thing that we leaned on was low angle prism that we added to our zoom lens. So basically the camera's pointed down like this and the prism sees upward, so you can get a POV like you're 1 inch
Yeah.
off the floor
Now,
with
now I
a camera
remember
that's
too, like
gigantic.
the masseuse kind of, her face would get distorted and stuff too, right? I mean, it'd be kind of a strange POV.
Oh yeah, for those shots we used one of like the newer lenses from Atlas Orion, it's a 21 millimeter anamorphic prime. So yeah, that was like one of the few times that we used primes. That and in the car, just because there was no way we were fitting that zoom in the car as much as I would want to. But yeah, the 21 mil prime at the time was I think the widest anamorphic zoom that anyone had ever made, or widest anamorphic prime anyone had ever made.
Wow.
And so it really gave a great just like distorted idea of the way AJ was seeing this masseuse.
Right.
So yeah, I used that a couple times with her, but like
Good
90%
choices.
of it was shot on that giant zoom.
Yeah, good choices. You are sounding like a DP, a camera geek, necessarily with compliments. As opposed to, maybe Danny's gear camera, which brilliant.
I was using Zeiss lenses. I will have you know.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Shipped to me from Zeiss.
Wow.
But
But seriously, were you? No, with the Super 8 camera?
seriously, no,
Wow.
really. Yeah, I mean, my biggest challenge was using a camera that is still a prototype. Not everything worked as planned. I mean, part of my goal was to find issues for Kodak to continue to work on and develop the camera. And I'm going to say probably half the film had to be reshot with issues. And there were some focus issues going on. And that's the moment they're like, we're going to send you some Zeiss lenses to see. So there was a lot of that. So there were a lot of challenges. Just from the technical end, just because it was a prototype and still under development.
Did that lend to your aesthetic? Because, it has a nice style, that it's appropriate, you know what I mean? Kind of student film, right?
I don't know how to answer that question. Yeah. I mean, I can't answer that question. It has a style. It's maybe not the style that I intended, but it's the style that I got. Again, there were a lot of issues, and at some point it's like, well, I'm just going with it at this point.
Well, that was probably brilliant of you to go with it, because otherwise you just would have been.
Otherwise, it wouldn't exist.
And it lends itself to it, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it sort of has this very 80s DIY Super 8 energy, which I love. So yeah, I'm fine with how it churned out, but there are these moments where people are like, really, you shot with Zeiss lenses? And my answer is yes, I really did, whether you believe it or not. So I mean, there's some weird dynamics going on.
Very cool. And Luke, one location, Would you shoot in a couple hours?
Yeah, it was maybe like a 4-hour shoot.
Wow.
It was honestly pretty smooth. The only thing that maybe was kind of a hiccup is for that beginning shot. We had a doorway dolly, but the rental company didn't give us all the stuff to actually attach the camera to it. So I had to kind of jerry rig my like tripod on it to make it so it would work. Still was like super shaky, which I'm thankful you can't really tell in the final result. But yeah, honestly, it was a really like nice crew to work with. Everybody was super efficient, and yeah, it's a pretty easy shoot.
Right on. And Ronnie, you inspired this question about challenges. You're talking about the challenge of working with, different national crews. So
Right.
explain some of your challenges.
Well, again, communication, and the team was relatively new. So I had to explain different techniques for animation to them and how things could be staged better. And also just logistically dealing with different time zones.
Mhm.
And those were the most challenges. The attitudes of all the artists, animation, just like I guess all filmmaking, is very collaborative. But you need a lot more people, I think, with animation.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
Did you realize your intentions, your original vision? Did you think it?
yeah, I would say we exceeded those intentions, the vision, and it will continue to evolve and improve even more as we get into full production. We've written.
What do you mean? What do you mean full production? What do you mean full
Well,
production?
well, this is the pilot episode, so we have 10 more episodes for the season 1. We've worked out the story arcs for the first 3 seasons, and even in the process of the actual production, it will continue to grow and evolve. It's like the characters take on a life of their own.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Eric, what was a highlight for you? Was it realizing to seeing the finished product, or was there a challenge that you overcame that was just like, a
Yeah,
highlight?
I mean, honestly, like the entire film like was just a dream to shoot. Like the talent was incredible. Like I love working with Dave. He and I have done a bunch of stuff before in the past, and so really like the whole thing was a highlight. As if that's kind of a nice non-answer for you.
Yeah.
But there was like a lot of satisfaction in like just like telling like a nice, tight, strange story.
Yeah. Well,
And yeah,
just finishing a film is an achievement, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Making movies is hard. But Kathy, other than the baby challenge, that's a rule in indie filmmaking. Don't like what do they say? Your first films, your early like no kids, like no animals, no fire or something like that, no explosions.
Mhm.
So why'd you what happened with the baby? What was some challenges for you?
Well, the challenges with the baby were, the baby is going to do what the baby does. So we just had to wait for the baby to feel ready to do the actions we wanted. The baby was supposed to call daddy, and the baby did not want to call daddy. So we just waited around for the baby to decide when to turn off the acting. Yeah.
And what was a highlight, a favorite moment for you?
A favorite moment for me, honestly, I was working with really talented actors and crew. They've all been on a lot of TV shows in Vancouver, and so it was so much fun seeing them improv. So my actors were improv actors, and having them bring the script to life in a new way and doing different takes. Some of those made it into the scenes, and I think it even worked out better than the scripted lines. So I'm really happy about the caliber of the people I worked with. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Danny, how did your students feel about the whole project and collaboration and the outcome?
I mean, they had a blast, and we've had some really good screenings. It was super fun for them. And I think, students are always kind of walking on eggshells in terms of how they can talk. And so I gave them permission to swear a lot in a student film, and they were like, this is amazing, I think at some point someone's like, is it okay if I swear? And I'm like, go for it. So I think it was kind of liberating in a weird way that like their teacher is like, yeah, do whatever you want.
I was impressed with are these your actors are they actors like that? Your lead character, man, he really was.
He's
You know,
he's great.
he was Luke.
None of them are officially actors, but I'm around my students enough that I kind of had a sense of who would work in the
Right.
different roles.
Right. And they felt comfortable in front of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that really adds to the film. They really, are honest and forthcoming.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was tapping into things they understood.
And so, Alex, you're director too, right?
Yeah.
How was directing your lead actor?
It wasn't like a solo thing at all. I have a writing partner who I had in Video Village the whole time. So we did a bunch of practicing, and I just trusted him to come in and be like, no, that sucked, do it again. And I just it was almost like a co-directing thing. I was only behind camera for like 4 shots of the movie.
Ah, okay. And what's something, maybe 1 or 2 more questions. What's something you guys learned? I mean, we got some veteran filmmakers here, maybe some newer filmmakers. You always learn something though. Alex, what's something maybe you learned about filmmaking yourself or anything?
I think the main thing for me is just to be as communicative and collaborative as possible. Like we're all kind of saying, it takes kind of a village, and best idea always wins out. I like working with people who kind of leave their egos at the door, and we're just there to have a good time and make the best movie possible.
Right on. Eric, how about you? What's something you may have learned or a takeaway?
I just think I learned maybe we're all just a little too polite. we gotta push through.
Yeah, right on. And Ronnie, how about you? You learned something about yourself or any
Um,
takeaways?
Yeah, I would echo what everyone else has said in terms of communication, although in my case, it was dealing with a new culture. Have a lot of friends of different cultures, but I never dealt with a whole African team. And in contrast to the African team, we had a team here in LA from Cal Arts. And so we have professionals and young students right out of school. And I'd say just staying grounded to lead the way, no matter where the boundaries are.
Yeah. And so the team is important, right? That they all have the project kind of first, no egos in the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the focus.
Yeah. Luke, how about you? A takeaway for you?
I mean, before this project, I've done like a lot where it's just me kind of wearing a lot of hats. And this one, we were, I had a proper like camera crew to work with, and like I guess I learned just the value in having like such a expansive crew to be able to like lead on, and how important that is for something to go very like efficiently. And I think it just makes the whole experience a lot more positive when you're not having to just have all the burden on your shoulders.
Yeah. Right on. Danny, how about you? Learn anything or takeaway?
I think it was a good reminder for me that things don't have to be perfect to make a good film. And I feel like these days, and I'm just having this general feeling with film these days, that people are making like really beautiful films where everything's dialed in. And I still then see a lot of those movies and go like, who cares? And so things can be rough around the edges, and that's okay. And I'm kind of excited about those kind of things these days, where I used to really be excited by those ideas, but then there's this big push for me towards perfection or trying to get better. But now everything's perfect. It's easy to make perfect things. That doesn't mean you make passionate things. So,
right. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. And that's maybe a crutch for me sometimes too, trying to be too perfect. And it's like, just go and express yourself.
Yeah. And for me, I'm glad I had to make this thing in 3 weeks and just accept the results, and, there it is, and throw it out into the world.
Right. Right on. And Kathy, how about you? You learn anything?
Yeah, well, I couldn't figure out how to get this clapping hand thing down.
You're getting a clap there, Danny. You're getting a clap.
I agree with you. That's why I was clapping. Yeah, I mean, I think I learned, with comedy especially, so much changes in the edit. We had a first edit that we screened, and we spent a few months re-editing it, and it's really so much funnier. Like we cut out all the dead space. It's so much about timing, cuts, and things like that. So that was a really fun experience, just working with the editor for what seemed like months. It was months, on and off, to really make it the tightest edit that we could. And I think the results paid off.
Right on. Right on. All right, last question. Well, I could keep talking to you guys all night long. I can do separate Q&As for you, but so maybe you can use this time to add whatever you want. But I kind of want to ask, like, why did you make a short film, and why not a feature film? Or is a feature film next? Or, because short films, it's not really in it for the commercial process. And I know you had your inspirations and stuff, but we love short films here. I love short films. Why did you pursue a short film? Kathy, I'm still on you if you want to answer that.
Yeah, I think short films are a great training ground, I'm sure, as we all know. And I think, it was my first time doing comedy. I think it was really, I realized through this process how much I love comedy. I've been doing a lot more comedy, improv, things like that. And so I think it was a good way for me to understand that. And then, I'm developing like a TV pilot as well as other feature projects and shorts. But short films will always have a special place. And, with comedy, there's a lot of sketches you can do, and those sketches can do well online. And so I'm excited to explore more of that as well.
Right. Eric, how about you? Why short films? Why'd you DP a short film?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I do love short films as like their own unique format, and I get like honestly excited when a director sends me a script and I'm like, this can only be a short, because so many times people are like, oh, this is kind of like an idea for the feature I'm cooking up, and like things like that. And then you can read that on the page, but then when you get like, when I read Deep Tish, I was like, this is an idea that can only exist as a short film, and it's like this is what it's designed for. And I get so excited about that, because short films should be their own unique genre. It shouldn't be a mini feature. You shouldn't try to tell like a massive 3-act epic. Like short films
like sometimes like
are.
a Hollywood film, you just know they just pushed it extra long to make it commercial, and it's like it doesn't work. Right.
Yeah, but that's why like I do get super stoked when I get a script and I'm like, yes, like this is a short. This is going to be a good short. Like, yeah, and so that was a reason to shoot this, is like this is a great short film. It is what it is.
Hey, Ronnie, how about you? Why a short animation?
Well, again, this is the pilot episode, so it's
And you're hoping to get distribution on TV?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. TV or streaming. We'll be pitching it very soon. It's been well received in various film festivals. And it's just the first step in a long process that hopefully is going to last a few years if it's picked up and succeeds.
Yeah, we hope so. Right on. Luke, why'd you do a short film?
Well, I think for this one, it was a good way for Sam and I to get to work together for the first time, which is really great. But I also think, kind of going back to what Eric said, it's like the story itself, I feel like fit more of the short narrative, and, with a lot of like sketches and whatnot, it just fits kind of a shorter time span a lot better than like if we're to drag that idea out longer into like a feature. And yeah, I like to, shoot shorts too. I think I agree. They're kind of their own sort of medium. But yeah.
I guess I ask that question sometimes. I love shorts, but it's just like, I feel like I should be pursuing more commercially viable lengths. That's why I asked that. Alec, how about you? Why'd you make a short?
I agree with everyone so wholeheartedly. Like, it's weird. Every year I go and see the Oscar shorts, and like it's a different kind of excitement. It just feels like its own thing, and I love it so much. So, but also as a training ground, it's cheaper. It's cheaper than doing a feature film.
But Danny,
next.
Danny, why do you love shorts so much? Why shorts?
I mean, I feel like I almost lost my mind making it this short film, that it's like, I think I would lose my mind if I had to make a feature. I don't think I'd survive the process at this point in my life. I mean,
I get it. Well, we're glad you all made short films, because they're all fun and wonderful. Thank you so much, not only for making your films, but submitting to our festival. Well done. Congratulations to you all. And I hope to meet you guys in person. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. That's been another Q&A for the 2024 San Francisco Short Film Festival. Catch more indie film at sfindy.com. Thanks everybody.
Take
Congrats.
care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Later.